received a lot of calls, and I think the best place to have this discussion is here, so that we can take it once and for all. We can answer all the questions. And it's a point in history where leadership decision-making must occur. And it falls on my shoulder to do a lot of the things. And clearly, I don't expect everyone to agree, but what we'll do is to put the logic that has and the philosophical underpinnings that will lead to the decisions that we take. The completion agenda, which His Excellency had said and promised, and which we have re-echoed, that every critical project in this administration, he would work to ensure that they are completed. Work is ongoing. If you go towards the Eket axis, you see work is ongoing. You go towards the Uruan axis, towards the Planet FM Road, you see work is ongoing in major sites all around the state. And therefore, as his tenure comes to a close by next year, judgment will begin to set in. The best time to judge His Excellency the Governor and his administration is on May 30, 2023. So I can assure you that the completion agenda is on course. I thought I should bring myself here so that we can discuss this matter. Everyone has a right to air their opinion. It's guaranteed by the Constitution. But we must ensure that in airing our opinion, we don't distract the wheels of the vehicle of states, so that this state can deliver. If the governor stops working today, it is not to his discredit, it is to our displeasure. So nobody will hijack a process. Even when the governor was contesting for election, when I was state publicity secretary, he made sure, he told us in the party, ensure that if someone wants to buy form to contest for governor, let the person buy. The doors of the party were thrown open in his own election. So if he did that in his own election, will he become overbearing in an election he's not going for? And therefore, there is absolutely no need for fear and no cause for alarm. Those who want to go for elections should prepare to go for elections. That's that for that. I would rather take questions so that we can address very particular issues.
My name is Isaac Job for Daily Times. And my question is this. If the revelation clashes with the reality in the field by the stakeholders, the delegates of the party, would the governor accept the outcome of it?
The governor has submitted himself to become a medium to speak about revelation. He says the choice is not his, and he has said it over time. When and if, or if and when, the outcome clashes with revelation, that becomes history. What is history? We are alive today to create history. What's happening today, the succession plan of 2007 was clearly different from the succession plan of 2015. And the succession plan of 2015 is clearly different from what we are seeing now from this succession plan. What is happening now will become a feed forward, will become an input for the planners of the succession of 2031. So we are acting history.
Sir, from the deepest recesses of your heart, do you believe that God actually revealed Mr. Moino to Gov Emmanuel?
I believe the governor. Why do I believe the governor? Because he's the one who had the encounter. I wasn't there when the encounter happened. I wasn't there when the revelation happened. But I believe him. Why do I believe him? In my relationship with him, either as boss to servant, or as father to son, or as publicity secretary to a candidate of a party, he has never told me in Emembong a lie. So I believe him. And he has come forward to say, by himself, a positive primary evidence that the Lord revealed. What is the contrary evidence to what he has stated? So the only evidence available for me on the spiritual realm is what the governor has said. If majority of Akwa Ibom people integrate themselves into Umoino's interest, it becomes their interest. Politics is a game of interest. So it's not a game of vilification. It's not a game where people are quarreling with people. It's simply a game where the aspirant represents your interest. It is the first time Umoino is coming out. The difference is that before he has had the opportunity to sell himself and galvanize the interest of people into his agenda, he is facing attack. That's the difference. The rest had the privacy of meeting people, talking to people, articulating their interests, hearing from them, getting feedback, coming again, consolidating before the attacks came. The difference is that by revelation, he has arrived the scene. By confrontation, some people have confronted him. It is now by negotiation that he would further his agenda. And at the end, by nomination, the candidate of the party will emerge. And by election, the next governor of Akwa Ibom will emerge. So there is no controversy.
Permit me to quote a line from the governor's anniversary speech 2021. He said, "My dear Akwa Ibom people, do you want a successor who will cancel out all the great strides in industrialization that we have started, the peace we are currently enjoy, and return us to the years that violence and kidnapping regain? Do you want a successor who will come out with anger towards all we have done, as opposed to continuing what the great works we have?" Do you think the governor is not using the God's name to be biased against some intending aspirants? Thank you.
In that governor's anniversary speech, that was his prayer. As every leader, we sit today as parents and we ask God, we don't want our children to be like this. So he was praying for his successor. He was praying that God will not give him a successor with those attributes. So it's not a state of bias. It's a state of consciousness of what he has seen in the office and what he understands will be, to the best of his understanding, and he makes an appeal to God.
We are talking about completion agenda, and the manifesto of the governor in 2019, the very first paragraph. Please permit me to reference it. In my completion agenda, my major target is on industrialization and investment, and it will be established, and I will establish at least one petroleum refinery, one thermal power plant, one petrochemical plant, one liquefied natural gas plant, one fertilizer manufacturing plant, and one steel plant in Akwa Ibom State before the end of my administration. So considering all these things the governor mentioned to Akwa Ibom people before given the mandate, which we've not seen any of that come to reality now, would you say that the governor was honest in his promise to Akwa Ibom people, and his completion agenda is successful?
I'm sure that none of us can deny the fact that the progress made on the Ibom deep sea port issue, this is the farthest we have come with it. And we cannot also deny the knowledge that this Ibom deep sea port issue is not totally a state government issue based on the Constitution. As at 2015, with the assurances, as at 2019, with the assurances he had and the push made, the approval ought to have come 2 years earlier. Sufficient assurance. Why it didn't come is not a subject of this press conference, but the good part, eventually it came. Now, are we serious with the business? Absolutely. If you interview Akanoko, he will tell you. There are surveys that are done before approval. There are confirmatory surveys that are done after. As at the time you are surveying for approval, the investor has not been selected. No investor has indicated. If he indicates interest, it's preliminary interest. When you get the approval and the guy is ready to put his money, he has to now sponsor and say, that thing you prepared, let me go and see whether it is true. The federal government is not putting money. The federal government is not putting money. The state government does not have sufficient money to put. This must be driven by investors. Investors will not act on a report you did without them. There is now a committee with the preferred investors on board who are insisting that let us go back to site. You go to the stretch where OCP is coming to produce ammonia, where we will have fertilizer. One of the first things that we were taught in economics is the availability of raw material. We have the raw material, but this raw material cannot be used in its raw state. They must be processing. Government does not have money, and in fact, economics also insists that government has no business directly investing in it because of corruption and the inefficiency of government to run businesses. Now, so that is the breach that OCP is coming to breach. So from OCP, we're going to get ammonia. From ammonia, we have a blending plant, but production is where we are looking at. We're going to have that production plant. As we speak, over 12 companies are already in the stretch of the Liberty Oil and Gas Free Trade Zone. Immediately they finish. A lot of those thermal companies are there. So immediately we finish. The issue is, these are private capital. And that is what is used to develop the world. Was he sincere in his promise? Yes, it's a promise. He was sincere. That was the goal. He has taken steps in ensuring that happens.
So we are from Ibiono local government area. And the people of Ibiono and Itu are agitating for governorship slots in 2023. And I am very much aware that your father is citing the Ibiono people. How is your relationship with your father as regard the stand of your father and the stand of the governor?
I have an excellent relationship with my father. Incidentally, my father, Emembong, is one of the people that history records who fought for the state. He's one of those who, at the level of Akwa Ibom, alongside others, also helped facilitate the signing of the charter by the paramount rulers that eventually gave us the state. No one of age in this state would claim that they don't know the role that Emembong played in the birthing of this state. His Excellency the Deputy Governor said that. I have great respect for my biological father. And so for people to attempt to bring politics between us will not work. Now, because it's clear, before the people have seen postings being made, and I'd like everyone to listen to what the Mbisong himself said when you finish. Mbisong holds the title of Obong Ibom. Incidentally, he was the President General of Ibom Welfare and Development Union at the time of the creation of Ibiono. And if you ask any Ibom person who is old enough, he will tell you the role that Mbisong played in the creation of that local government area. Now, so because his son is commissioner, does that negate the fact that Mbisong, a man who recently celebrated 80, and I'm merely 38, heading to 39, that my presence in the State Executive Council should deny him the capacity to demand for what he thinks is right? It's his thought. I have an independent thought. And I'll lay my thoughts bare. So I do not have quarrels with my father's disposition. The paramount ruler of Ibom is Royal Majesty Okuku Imo Osariyan. And my father and many other credible Ibom people fought strenuously for the creation of the Ibom local government area. 2 people from my village, Usendon, died in the fight to create Ibom. And it took people like Mbisong Emembong and the paramount ruler and other people and the Ibom Welfare and Development Union to bring back peace to Ibiono at that time. So for a man who is 80 years, who desires, like many people in Ibiono, to see a governor come from there, it's not a crime. He cannot be vilified for taking that position. And what did he say? He's simply saying that that is his desire, but that the demand should be peaceful. So now the question should rather be, what is my position? And the man whose decision must determine not just where I stand, but where many other people will stand. I'm the commissioner for information. I am the commissioner who hails from Ibom. And people will tell you that in Ibom, the political direction is given by a serving commissioner. That has been the tradition before I arrived. So my decision is not just about me. It's also about the direction that the people who believe in me and the people who believe in the political structure of Ibom over time will take. And which is why people have said I've been silent. Silent is strategy. And I will make known my position. It is simple. I am an appointed officer of government. I'm not an elected representative of Ibom people. And therefore the demands on an appointed officer of government and that who is elected vested with the wishes of the people is clearly different. I bear the trust of an appointer, and I will execute that trust. I will stand by a man who has stood by me. I will stand by a man who gave me an appointment for a day as this. But will I negate, will I fight the wishes of my people? The answer is no. These things are not they are not confronting each other. The governor whom I serve has made a choice and has not foreclosed the space. The challenge would have been if the governor made a choice and foreclosed the space. There's no foreclosure. I will not antagonize any human being who is aspiring for an office, whether the person is from Ibiono or not. And my office as commissioner does not intend, part of my duties is not to antagonize politicians. My duty is to defend the interests of the state, including the opposition. My duty is to create a brand for the state and defend it outside and inside, and to popularize the activities of government in Akwa Ibom State. I don't see where that comes into conflict. So, as in Emembong, the Commissioner for Information, I have made my position clear. The governor, who is my boss, who is the leader of the state, who currently still has the oil of kingship on his head, has made a proposition. I, as an appointed officer of that government, I will respect the oil of leadership on his head. I will do what he wants done because he has relinquished and told me that this choice is not his own, that this choice is God's own. Therefore, I, as his subordinate, will not challenge him and will not challenge God. I'll do my duties as Commissioner for Information, and I'll do it to the last day I have the opportunity to sit in office. But I've made myself clear. I do not ignore the demands of Ibiono and Itu people, like other people, to produce a governor. I cannot. They have a legitimate claim. Others have a legitimate claim. It is a contest of claims, and it is not my role to decide which claim is meritorious or which is not. The electorate will. My boss, the governor, has taken a position that he has told me is influenced by divinity. I lack powers to challenge divinity. I will not challenge divinity by proxy, and I do not intend to challenge His Excellency the Governor. I have made my position clear. That is my position. I thank you.